Yeah, I just wanted to share an experience that happened to me recently. So, at the end of December 2025, I was looking at my finances, my wife's and I's finances, in terms of how much money we're going to be getting. Just for those who don't know this, I came back to Zimbabwe permanently with my family. It's over 5 years ago now. It was 5 years in October last year. Um, so we've actually not been working since we came back. But what happened is that God provided for us by making it possible for us to sell some of our land, because excuse me, the piece of land we're on was actually 11 hectares, and we managed to sell 7 hectares of land, from which we got 140,000 US dollars, which sounds like a lot of money, but what you have to bear in mind is that we actually had to pay taxes, several taxes, not just one, which is sometimes feels unfair, but we had to pay these taxes because we didn't want to have anything hanging over us, or to be found to have told lies. Jesus did say, "Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar." Okay, so we paid our taxes, but we also owed some money, and the summary of what happened is that we, from that 144,000, sorry, the 140,000 US dollars that we got from the sale of the land, we bought 2 houses. We basically get rent from these 2 houses. So at the end of last month, I was looking at the money that was going to be coming in at the start of January, because that's when we get our rent at the beginning of every month. And I was looking at how much we were going to get and how much was going to go out, and it wasn't just like saying in the US nowadays, the math wasn't mathing. I just had too many things to do in terms of our outgoings, and I also had a problem with this car that I'm sitting in, because the wheel bearing on one of the front wheels was damaged, was broken, and needed replacing. And these are things that just come up without you budgeting for them. So there were too many things, and I even had to start cutting back, and I had to prioritize and think what's the most important thing, or what are the most important things that I need to do, and those are the things that I wanted to concentrate on. Of course, we have to pay taxes as well. These same 2 properties that we bought, we have to pay taxes on, so it's kind of the money that we get from rent, some of it has to go to paying taxes as well, council tax. So and then fuel for the car and other things like that. So I just had money worries basically. But then before we got our rent, I also remembered that before we upgraded our solar system, because now we have one massive battery, whereas before we had 24 batteries. It was actually 2 lots of 12 and another 12, which made up our solar system. And then I had an extra 2 batteries, which were a while ago were being used by a tenant that was staying here on our property. We're not really getting much money from him, but because he was only renting a room. But so when we sold the 24 batteries from our old solar system, I had these 2 batteries that remained. And basically, when we went shopping, I took those batteries with me. They're quite big batteries, but I managed to get $30 from there, and I was pleasantly surprised actually at how much money I got. Because in my head, I was thinking I was going to get just over $20, but I got $30. Which alleviated my worry about money. But then actually a few days before we went shopping, I'm trying to be truthful in how it actually happened. When did I find out? Sorry, yeah, it was actually on the same day we went shopping when I sold those batteries, because there's a company that buys them so that they can recycle them. I got that money, and then when I phoned, the arrangement was that I was supposed to phone 2 of my tenants. I've actually have 3 of my tenants in this town that I'm talking about. It's called Mutare. So in Mutare, in that same house, we have these 3 tenants that are sharing the house. And when I called one of the tenants to say he should meet up with me so he could give me my rent, he actually said he was going to give me rent for not only for January but for February, which was actually a pleasant surprise. So he actually ended up giving me double of the rent that I thought I was going to get, which obviously helped with paying for various things. So I actually ended up with more money than I thought I would get. Because one of the things I was even considering was that I was thinking that if things were really tight financially, that I should maybe hold on or not return tithe for January and then return that tithe in February. But because of because of God's divine providence, I was able to return tithe, and even when I was buying the wheel bearing for the wheel, I thought I thought the wheel bearing was going to be $20, but it actually ended up being $15. So I saved $5 there, and I've managed to save some money on the actual labor for the guys who are going to be fixing or installing the wheel bearing on the where it needed fixing. So yeah, I just wanted to share this because it just shows how faithful God is compared to our unfaithfulness. And sometimes when we worry about our health or finances, whatever we're worrying about, for some of you, maybe you're writing exams or you're going through university and you worry about those kind of things. But I think we need to stop worrying. Jesus did say that we shouldn't worry because there's nothing we can change about worrying. And I know that wasn't a coincidence that happened the way it did, because the very things I was worried about money, but then it eventually worked out that I didn't need to worry about money because God gave me even more money than I needed. I know that next month things may be a bit tight financially, because one of my tenants has paid double the rent, but I'm sure God will take care of that, because God talks about us. He refers to us as his children. So, and he's our heavenly Father, and he's a good father in that he provides for his children. He does all those other things that a good father should do, which I've spoken about in some of my other videos, like especially the video where I spoke about how to be a good father. There's no one that can beat our heavenly Father at being a good father. Okay, so yeah, I was just impressed to share that, because when God does something good for us, we shouldn't keep it to ourselves. I think we should share it as an encouragement to others. So that's all I wanted to say. Thanks for watching the video, and God bless.